Hi, welcome to Quokka Games. I'm Jono. I'll be starting a video series where I document our journey and show you some behind the scenes of our game development. For today's video, I'll be talking to you about our journey at PAX this year in Melbourne. Before the journey even started, I had some troubles with my suitcase where the zipper broke. I almost missed the flight, but luckily the plane got delayed. Eventually I got onto the plane and flew down to Melbourne. I caught a taxi to my hotel, which was a rookie mistake. In hindsight, an Uber is less expensive. I should also mention that Ando was flying separately that night, so he didn't have to go through the same ordeal I did. After I settled down at the hotel, I decided to go collecting my badge from the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre. I made my way down Southbank and went past the Crown Casino. For the previous 2 years, we haven't actually landed early. You can read about it on my previous blog. Our flight actually got cancelled the first time we were going to PAX, but you can check out that story or I can tell you about it later. But this time my flight was delayed, but I actually managed to get to the MCEC on time. So I put my high vis on, and to my surprise, the whole entire venue was such a mess. So I was just surprised that there were so many people waiting outside, even though there was nothing on. There was plenty of boxes and pallets, plastic bags, plastic wrapping, cardboard cutouts, paint, banners, people doing all sorts of things. That was the first time I saw that, so it was quite intriguing. This year, the event organizers decided to have the tabletop and video indie developers at the front in the expo hall. I thought this was an interesting choice, but I didn't want to decide if it was bad or not until we actually experienced it. So I wandered around until I found my table. I was excited to see some familiar faces that we've met previously from other conventions and PAX as well. After I said my hellos, I was getting very hungry, so I decided to grab some dinner, which of course I was craving Korean fried chicken. After having the fried chicken, I went down to Fred Square because there was an event on, I think Melbourne Game Week. So the Thursday night before, there was a big games night out. There was a few cosplayers catwalking to showcase their outfits in the main foyer. There was also a few games that were being exhibition. I played Untitled Goose Game, and in fact, I've finished it twice. Day one, normally Friday mornings are fairly quiet because all the patrons have lined up, queued up, and they're ready to go find the merch store. Most people we found would like to just do a quick scout and find out what's on offer before they line up and start demoing. So don't be alarmed when not many people are showing up to your table or booth on Fridays. That's usually the case. It starts quiet in terms of traffic, but really loud in terms of music. So the previous 2 times we were Indie Showcase winners, but this year we went as a PAX Rising. So we didn't have a game ready, but you'll soon find out that we have been working on a game, which I'll continue to showcase in the following videos. So I decided to film the crowd and join them just on the stampede to come in. As I mentioned before, the PAX Indie developers and PAX Rising for tabletop has been moved from the tabletop area and moved into the expo hall next to the video games. It was quite exciting to be amongst video gamers. So we all had our own opinion, but I didn't want to formulate one until we experienced it. Here's our booth. Well, our little table. Well, Ando is chatting away with some other exhibitioners. What we enjoy about PAX the most is we get to see the friendly faces that come and say hello, especially for those that have seen us for the last 3 years. So we had some fans that already arrived on Friday morning. Thank you for those who came to find us on Friday and said hello. We really appreciate your support. It's always nice to see new and returning fans. And welcome to our new fans too. We're all in this journey together. So Friday eventually picked up during lunchtime, and it stayed very busy all the way till 6 o'clock. So because we've been doing PAX for the last 3 years, Ando and I developed a system where I would man the table and demo our games to you guys, and Ando will hang around and mingle with anyone that's passing by or waiting to test the game. I think that two-man system for us has really worked well. And then if we need to go on toilet breaks, he can jump in, or I can jump in and help him out too. So it's definitely great to see people take an interest in laundry. We weren't sure if Dirty Laundry was a game that people would take an interest in. So the biggest takeaway for me is that people at PAX are very accepting and welcoming, really friendly, so don't be afraid to talk to people. So you don't need to be afraid of people judging you. Everyone's gamers, so they're quite accepting of you having to explain certain things twice, or when you forget something, you can try again. 6 p.m. came quite quickly, which we were relieved about. It was definitely a long day, a long first day. Being in the expo hall meant that the enforcers could enforce a hard close, which also means as exhibitors, we didn't have to force anyone out or politely decline any new demos. So that took a lot of weight off our shoulders. It was great to have a social event straight after that started about 6:30 to 7, where we had some finger foods and drinks. Being able to just sit there and wait for the food to arrive where we demoed was great, because we didn't have to think about where to find dinner. Mingling with other exhibitors in front of our tables was also a good thing, because we get to point to the posters and explain who we are, rather than going through a complete spiel that we usually do. So I think that was a bonus, so that we could put a face to game. Apparently, I heard from the event organizers that this event hasn't happened since 2018. Moving on to day 2 and 3. So for day 2 and 3, Ando and I decided to have a mystery loot drop, where we live stream our in a secret location in Melbourne and gave away a copy of Yamcha. So the first person to come and find us in the secret location would win a signed copy. I think it went rather well. The first day we had a person come find us in Victoria Park, and they found us in 25 minutes. On the second day, the person found us in about 46 minutes. So I think it was a good outcome, and I hope they enjoy their copies of Yamcha. So after the live stream, we returned to our hotels to eat our big breakfast and rest up a little bit before we headed off to PAX again. Saturday being the most busy out of the 3 days, it was flat out the whole day. The biggest advice I can give you as new exhibitors is to prepare food, water, and throat lozenges. Throat lozenges are a blessing. Having tabletop indie developers share the same space as video game developers was, I think, a good thing. So I'll go through some pros and cons. One of the major pros is it gave us a space where everyone knows that we're all indie developers. It's easy for people to see us as a large collective, and especially gives us a huge collective and a huge platform to showcase our talents and our games. So another good thing about being at the front is that we got to showcase tabletop games to people that never played tabletop games before. We had this guy that was a video gamer, and he told us that he played tabletop games for the first time, and he played 5 in the one day, which I thought was excellent. So We had a few other people that said that they didn't know that we existed and that they've been to PAX the previous 2 years. So they were very glad that they could see us in the indie developer section. So they were keen, and I think we've converted them into Clocker fans. So we might see a new wave of tabletop gamers join the hobby, which is a win for everyone. Having said that, a con would be on the similar lines where people didn't know that we were at the front. So we had some of the old fans or tabletop gamers. They went all the way down to the tabletop and couldn't see any of the indie developers and were confused. Not until they returned in Friday afternoon or the next day on Saturday, before they found our table, and they said that why are we in a different location? Why aren't we with the tabletop area? I think going forward, if the tabletop indies will stay at the front, people will become accustomed to it, and there'll be no confusion in the following years. Overall, I think the pros outweighs the cons, and by the end of the exhibition, I think our fellow exhibitors also feel the same. So after Saturday was done, Endo and I decided to go down to the tabletop area where it's still open after 6 PM. As we went down, we bumped into a few friends and said hello. We also discovered the Disney Locana, where they took up a huge section of the tabletop area. One thing that especially caught my attention was there was a giant copy of Harmonies. So after the tabletop area, we went to grab some dinner. We had some Thai food, and we called it a night. We needed the rest for Sunday. Attending PAX Australia is always a thrilling experience, with everyone sharing common interests and an incredible welcoming atmosphere. As exhibitors, there's nothing better than seeing happy faces, playing our games and enjoying themselves. Thank you to those who came and said hello. We can't thank you enough, especially for those who came and seen us for 3 years in a row. Thank you. What makes it a truly amazing event is to see all those happy faces and the supporters that support us. We can't do this without you. So in return, I'll give you a sneak peek to one of our latest games. If you want to have a look there. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you in the next video, where I start to introduce you to our new game, Hot Pot.